Hello everybody, welcome back to the Stone Dogs 40k. This is a 1750 point battle between Orks and Chaos. We're playing battle number 2 in the Fires of Anarchy mission set. This is called Rites of Battle. Inter-unit communication is virtually non-existent. All modern methods of contact have failed as a dense, pervading fog forms across the battlefield. As a result, squad commanders are relying on the old ways: flares, hand signals, flags and flashlights. In this confusing whirlwind of mayhem, it is difficult to impossible to distinguish friend from foe. So the battlefield is set up. We need to place one objective marker in the very centre of the battlefield. So let's drop that one right there. And then the players roll off, and then starting with the winner, take turns placing 4 more objective markers. So Orks are green, Space Marines are black, Chaos are black. So the Chaos side wins, so they get to start placing the first objective marker, which we're going to put just on that corner right there. The Chaos side place theirs, number 3, which they are going to put just in the corner of that building. And then the Orc side will place number 4, and they're going to put this one just down there. And then finally Chaos will place the 5th objective marker, number 5, and that is going to go right there. So each additional objective marker, the ones we've just placed, need to be more than 12 inches away from each other and more than 6 inches away from the battlefield edge. The players then roll off, and the winner determines which of the standard deployment maps are going to be used. Now we've already done that roll, and the Orc side won, and they rolled up Spearhead Assault. So we've got the red dice marking this end, and then the yellow dice marking the other end, and they basically come to a point 18 inches apart in the centre. So the Orcs get to choose their deployment zone because they won the roll for choosing what map to use. So the Orcs are going to choose that end. So the Chaos side will drop in this end. So what we need to do next is the player who lost the roll then deploys the whole army. So the Chaos side are going to deploy their whole army first. So that will happen shortly. Just talk you through the rest of this mission. So first turn, obviously player who finished setting up their army first chooses who takes the first turn. If they decide to take the first turn, their opponent can then try and seize. The primary objective, which is the marker in the centre, number 1 right there, is worth 1 victory point to the player who controls it at the end of each turn. The Rites of Battle mission rule is as follows: in each enemy shooting phase, after an enemy infantry or character model has fired all their weapons, but before damage has been resolved, the friendly player may spend 1 command point to use the Rites of Battle stratagem. They choose one of the infantry or character models which successfully hit its target. This shooting attack does not actually hit the target model, but instead hits the closest enemy model. Resolve damage as normal. So this reflects the foggy nature of the battlefield, and that friendly fire may well be an issue. Random battle length, so we'll use the random battle length rules from the main rulebook, and then using tactical objectives as well. Each player must draw enough cards to have 3 in play at the start of each of their turns, and we've then got Slay the Warlord, First Strike and Line Breaker. So let's get the armies deployed and we'll get stuck in. So here we are, all deployed. Chaos at this end and the Orcs at this end. Chaos finished deploying first, so they get to go first. The Orks are going to try and seize the initiative. Wowzer. And they do. So Orks, turn 1, coming up next. So start of the turn, need to draw 3 cards for the Orks. So we've got Big Game Hunter, which is destroy a unit with 10 wounds or more. Secure Objective 1, which is in the centre. And Stomp 'em Boys, so destroy units in the fight phase. Okay, movement is coming right up. So end of the movement phase for the Orks for the first turn. So we've got Battle Wagon and War Bikes here that have advanced forward on the left flank. Advance here on the boys. We've got a Weird Boy, Warlord, Weird Boy there, Shock Attack Gun here. Gretchen advanced up to get onto objective number 1 early doors. And then in the back line we've got Tank Busters, Gretchen, and then over this side we've got a big mech in mecha armour, 10 boys here, and then a truck and another squad of 10 Gretchen. The burner bomber has moved up to here, so that's the end of movement. So first things first, just look down here, you will see a Weird Boy. He's going to cast a smite onto this unit of Berserkers, which does not go off. He is a Warp Head, so he gets to cast 2 powers. So what's he going to cast? So he's within 12 inches of that boy's unit just over there, so we're going to cast the jump, and we get that on an 8. And there is a sorcerer within deny range who cannot deny it. So the jump on that boy's unit, I'll get those moved and then come back to you. So there we go, that's that unit of boys dejumped from here. Obviously they've left the Pain Boy and the War Banner behind, unfortunately, but that gets them well up the table. The other Weird Boy, who's just here, he has Warpath and Smite. However, both of those really are pointless this turn, so that's the end of Psychic. Shooting next. End of the shooting phase for the Orks for turn number 1. So there's been a couple of the Berserkers taken out of this squad by fire from the Gretchen. The Warlord shot and failed to do any hits. Also been 3 of these Berserkers taken out by fire from the burner bomber and from these 2 trucks with their big shooters. And then over this side, 2 of the cultists taken out by shots coming in from the battle wagon. However, the battle wagon advanced. My mistake, I'll put those 2 back. Okay, that's the end of shooting. Charges are next. See what charge phase is over. Attempted to charge these boys into this squad of cultists. Cultists managed to take out 1 on Overwatch. These guys needed a 9 to get in. They rolled an 8, and then with a command point re-roll rolled a 6. So failed charge. That's the end of the charge phase. No fight phase as a result. So at the end of turn number 1 for the Orks, let's have a look at their objectives. So Rites of Battle, they get 1 point for the primary objective, which is in the centre there, and then let's have a look at their other objectives. So Big Game Hunter, didn't get that one. Secure Objective 1, if you control it at the end of your turn, so we get another point for that one, which puts us on 2. And then Stomp 'em Boys, we didn't get anything for that one. So 2 points for the Orks at the end of turn 1. So Chaos turn number 1, just going to draw 3 cards. So we've got Assassinate, kill 1 character. For the Dark Gods, so fail a morale test and rise to glory. Character, vehicle or monster destroyed during the turn, and the last wound it suffered was inflicted by a character. Okay, that's the end of that section. Let's do the movement phase. So into the movement phase, Rhino 12-inch move up to here. Cultists have stayed put. These units have all just moved forwards. Helldrake has hopped over to here from the back line, and then in the centre the remaining 3 Berserkers have moved forwards, as have the Warlord and the Sorcerer. Hellbrute has moved over from here. Forge Fiend has moved over from here. The Warbikes have just moved up through this section, and we've got the remaining 2 Berserkers here and the other Chaos Lord, and then finally the second Rhino, which has moved up on this flank. So that's the end of movement. Psychic is next. End of the Psychic phase. Sorcerer in the middle failed to get any powers off at all. Smite managed to roll a 3, and then his other power failed to go off as well. Master of Possession over this side managed to get a smite onto this unit and took out 3 mortal wounds. He's out of range for any deny purposes, and then this Sorcerer got a smite off here for another 2, and the Hellbrute has now got Diabolic Strength on it. So that's the end of Psychic. Shooting is next. So end of the shooting phase for Chaos. These guys took out 5 of the Gretchen. This boy squad over on this flank is pretty much gone. Fire coming in from all of these units. The Cultists, the Rhino and the Helldrake. The Hellbrute, apologies, shot at the battle wagon and managed to take off 3 wounds with its multi-melter. And then over this side, combined fire from the Hellbrute, the Forge Fiend and the Warbikes got this truck down to 4 wounds, and then the Rhino shot into the Gretchen and took out 2 of those. So that's the end of shooting. It's charges next. So at the end of the charge phase for the Chaos side for turn number 1, the Berserkers have made it in to this remaining 3 boys, and then the Master of Possession followed, and then finally the Hellbrute went in as well, just purely because of the Power Claw on the boss, remembering he's got Diabolic Strength. And then in the middle, kept the Warlord and the Sorcerer back, but the 3 Berserkers have charged into the centre. And then over on this side, the Warbikes, although they had hits, they saved those wounds and made it into this truck. So that's the end of charges. Fight phase is next. At the end of the fight phase, this squad of Orks has finally been dispatched by the 5 Khorne Berserkers. The other 2 units didn't need to use their attacks. The Gretchen in the centre there, after consolidating, have lost another, well, several of their number. However, they managed to take out 1 of the Berserkers in return. And then just over here, the Warbikes did no damage to the truck. The truck then took out 1 of the Warbikes with a couple of swipes of its Wrecking Ball. That's the end of the Chaos turn. Let's have a look at their objectives. So although they're on objective number 1, they haven't got superiority. So although, thinking about it, let me check that. Yeah, so obviously I thought there was a rule that might give them superiority, being Khorne Berserkers, but that is not the case. So what have we got? Assassinate, take out a character, haven't done that yet for the Dark Gods. To score 1 victory point if an enemy unit was destroyed. Yes, we've taken out that squad of boys, and then score 1 victory point if at least 1 enemy character, vehicle or monster was destroyed this turn by a character. So we haven't scored that one. So it's 1 victory point for the Chaos side this turn. Orcs turn number 2 coming up next. So Orcs turn number 2, need to draw 1 card to take us back up to 3, and we've got secure objective 2. So 2 is there, just need to hold that until the end of the turn to get a victory point. So movement is coming up. End of the movement phase for the Orcs for turn 2. Battle Wagon and the bikes that are following have just moved up on this side. The Pain Boy and the War Banner are just into the building there just to get some cover. Weird Boss and Weird Boy, Warlord and Weird Boy have just moved up in the middle. This squad has just shunted over to the left to get on to objective number 2. The truck has deployed the mech and the burner boys and then fallen back, and the Gretchen have moved forwards, and then this truck has just done a standard 12-inch move up to here. Just got to move the burner bomber and then it is psychic. So the burner bomber that was here has turned and moved across to here. That gives the Orcs line breaker. So end of the psychic phase for the Orcs, and this Weird Boy managed to get a smite off onto the Helldrake and has taken 2 wounds off. No other powers manifested this turn. So shooting is next. End of shooting for the Orcs, and there's literally 1 berserker left just down here. Shots coming in from the war bikes, and then shots from the battle wagon into this unit, plus fire from the burner bomber. Managed to take out 7 of the cultists. Over this side, so there's 2 war bikers gone after fire from the burners and the Gretchen and the truck. And then there was other shooting, like the mech shot and missed, the truck shot and missed, and then the Knob with War Banner, 18-inch range on his gun, shot at the Helldrake, needed to get a 6 to hit and missed. And then finally the shock attack gun just here, shot down at the Hellbrute at strength 6 and managed to get 3 wounds off of the Hellbrute. So that's the end of shooting. Charges for the Orcs are complete. So the Gretchen charged into the bikes and lost 2 to Overwatch, and then all of the other units have all just charged in. And then in the centre, the Weird Boy and the Warlord have charged in from just back here. That's the end of charges. Fight phase is next. So end of the fight phase. Another biker's gone. No damage received in return from the war biker onto the Orcs. And then in the centre, Gurgal attacked the berserkers and managed to get, with his additional hit, managed to get 4 hits and 4 wounds with -4 AP on his custom claw. So because he gets additional AP, 3 damage a pop, so that was the berserkers splattered to the winds. That's the end of the Orc turn for turn number 2. So again, get a point for the central objective, and then we've got 1 victory point if an enemy unit was destroyed during the fight phase. So we've done that one for the berserkers. Secure objective 2, 1 victory point for that one, which is right there. And then Big Game Hunter we're still sitting on at the moment, which is a enemy unit with wounds of 10 or more. So 3 points plus line breaker, that's 4 points for the Orcs for their turn number 2. So Chaos turn number 2, Diabolic Strength is off that Hellbrute, so I need to draw 1 card. And we get the Long War, so score 1 victory point if an enemy unit was destroyed during this turn. That only really applies to Imperium units for the higher score, so just need to destroy 1 unit to get 1 point for that. We still got Assassinate for characters and Rise to Glory. So let's get stuck into movement. So end of the movement phase for the Chaos side. Hellbrute has moved forwards, as has the Master of Possession. These berserkers have disembarked from the Rhino, which is then reversed up to here. The Chaos unit of cultists and the Sorcerer have just moved forwards. The Helldrake has moved up to here, and in the centre the Hellbrute, the Sorcerer and the Warlord have moved up to engage the Orc Warlord over on the far side. The Rhino has disembarked its squad of 10 and then moved forwards to block the truck. This unit has just moved forwards. The bike has fallen back from combat. And then finally we've dropped in Raptors here and Raptors here, all 9 inches away from any enemies. So this one gives the Chaos side line breaker, which is obviously a much valued point, considering they are quite a way behind. Right, so Psychic next. End of the Psychic phase. This Sorcerer failed to get any powers off over this side. Master of Possession managed to get a smite onto the battle wagon and dropped it down to 10 wounds, and then the Sorcerer got another smite in and dropped it down to 7. So that's the end of Psychic. It's shooting so next. The Chaos Lord with his Combi Bolter, Rapid Fire 2, so he gets 4 shots. This is going into the Burner Boys. So these hit on a 2. He gets to re-roll because he's a Chaos Lord, so that's 4 hits. These are strength 4, so force to wound. So we get 2 wounds. Now, the Orc player, or the Orc side, are going to use Rites of Battle, so they're going to spend 1 command point. And basically one of those hits is going to hit the closest enemy model instead, so it's going to hit that guy there. So basically what we need to do is we need to roll a 6 for the Orc, which is going to be the white one, and then a 3 for the Berserker, which is going to be the yellow one. Okay, so neither of them are saved, so basically one of the Burner Boys dies and one of these guys dies. Now that's the champion, so I'm going to take that guy there, as you would do normally. So that's the stratagem. I'm not sure that that works particularly well. I might need to reword it a little bit. But basically the idea is that because the battlefield is quite foggy, when he's shooting, he can't necessarily see or discern friend from foe, so friendly fire, 1 shot gone into there and 1 shot gone into there. So I'm going to have a look at that rule probably before I finish this video, and we'll see whether we can make that a little bit more easy to understand. Okay, so at the end of the shooting phase, probably the big shot of the game was, or the big shot of the turn I should say, was the Forge Fiend, which managed to destroy the truck, which exploded, took out all of the Gretchen that were left, and in exploding took out 1 of the knobs that was inside as well, and also knocked the mech down to 1 wound from 3, and took a wound off of this Rhino, so that was quite a big explosion. In terms of shooting elsewhere, no damage from the Raptors here. One of the bikes has been taken out by this Hellbrute. All of these units in here shot at the battle wagon and have got it down to 7 wounds. And then the Hellbrute just in the middle here shot across and took out another one of the Burner Boys. So that's the end of shooting. It's charges next. End of the charge phase for the Chaos side. Hellbrute made it into the war bikes with no damage on Overwatch. This unit of Berserkers charged in and lost 3, and then the single Berserker champion that was just here charged in and joined that combat as well. In the centre, the Warlord and the Hellbrute and the Sorcerer have made it into combat with the Orc Warlord, and then the Weird Boy has heroically intervened. That's the end of charges. Fight phase is next. So at the end of the Chaos fight phase, these guys have managed to get the battle wagon down to 3 wounds and have lost a few of their number in the process. The Hellbrute's had a wound taken off but has got rid of 2 more bikes. And then over in the centre, Slay the Warlord. The Chaos Warlord has been killed by the Orc Warlord. The Sorcerer did no damage, and then the Hellbrute took the Orc Warlord down to 1 wound, and then because he heroically intervened, the Weird Boy took the Hellbrute down to 1 wound, didn't get crazed, so no return attacks from the Hellbrute. So Slay the Warlord for the Orcs. That is not good. In terms of objectives, Rise to Glory, score 1 victory point if at least 1 enemy character, vehicle or monster was destroyed. We did destroy the truck in the shooting phase, so we get a point for that one. The Long War, score 1 victory point if an enemy unit was destroyed during this turn, so we get that point as well. And then Assassinate, take out a character. We haven't done that yet. So that plus Line Breaker gives 3 points for this turn, putting the Chaos side on 4 compared to 7 for the Orks. So it's Orks turn number 3, and we get here we go War for tactical objectives and Witch Hunter. So take out a Psyker. Score 1 victory point if 3 or more Orc units from your army made a charge move this turn. If 5 or more, then D3, and then we still got Big Game Hunter, which is all about wounds of 10 or more. So that's going to be the Forge Fiend or the Helldrake or one of the Rhinos. So let's get stuck into movement phase for turn 3 for the Orks, and the Knobs have just standard moved forwards, as has the mech, to start taking some wounds off this Rhino. The Burner Boys have just moved up just to get into range of the biker. No movement here. However, this squad of boys has moved across to think about charging here. No movement here or here or here or here or here. The Gretchen have just moved up to get into charge range of the Raptors on this side, and then no movement here or here or here. However, bearing in mind the truck is on 3 wounds, I'm kind of thinking he might need to fall back. No, we'll go with it. Let's see what happens. Right, Psychic phase is next. End of the Psychic phase, and the weird boy in the centre here tried to get a smite off onto the Hellbrute, who's only got 1 wound left. Failed to go off, and then tried Headbanger, or Edbanger, which again failed to go off. And then the weird boy up on the building here cast a smite onto the Helldrake and managed to get 2 mortal wounds. That was not denied by either the Master of Possession or the other Psyker who's in that building just there. So that's the end of Psychic. Shooting is next. End of the shooting phase for the Orks. The Rhino here's had another 3 wounds taken off it by the mech. The Burner Boys did no damage here. No damage on these guys, having to roll a 6 because they've got fly, so did hits but no wounds. And then over here the Gretchen have managed to take out one of the Raptors. And the only other bit of shooting was the Burner Bomber, which had actually moved across to here, flew over the Cultist squad, and actually with a combined shooting from all of its weapons, including a Burner Bomb, took that whole unit out in one fell swoop. So really effective shooting, which makes a change. That's the end of shooting. It's charges next. So that's the end of the charge phase. 1 wound off of the Knobs, made it into the Rhino. The mech then made it in as well. Burner Boys made it into the bike with no wounds. No damage on either side here. And no damage, well, I say no damage, 1 Gretchen gone from this unit on the charge, but they made it in okay. So that's actually 5 units that have charged for the Orks, which gives them D3 command points for the end of this turn. So we'll roll that up now, and they get 2. Fight phase is next. So end of the fight phase. Not much going on here. Rhino's down to 4 wounds. No damage on either side here. One of the Orks has gone from here, and I think we had no damage on either side here, so no morale or anything to worry about. 2 big things that happened. Number 1, the battle wagon it didn't explode, but it was destroyed. Because the bikes were still there, the Hellbrute took out the bikes in a subsequent part of the turn. However, there was only enough space to get 4 of the boys out. The rest of them were presumed killed because there was no space here, basically. which means that I should have fallen that battle wagon back in the movement phase, but there you go. So they've just consolidated into the Berserker champion. The bikes took another couple of wounds off the hell-brute before they were destroyed. So that was pretty brutal. And then over in the middle, the Orc war boss fought first and took 12 wounds off the hell-brute that only had 2 wounds left. It exploded. He was on 1 wound, so it took him out, and then it's taken 2 of the Gretchen out, and then taken wounds off both the war boss, the weird boy and the sorcerer. So pretty brutal explosion in the center there. That's the end of the Orc turn. So just need to have a look at where we are for points. So Witch Hunter, haven't got that. Here we go. We got the 2 points for 5 or more units that charged, and then destroy something with 10 or more wounds. I believe a weird boy has 8. Let me just check. What am I saying, weird boy? I mean hellbrute. Yeah, hellbrutes only have 8 wounds, so unfortunately that one doesn't count. So 2 points for here we go, and 1 point for the central objective. Puts the Orcs up to 9 points. Just a quick caveat to that, obviously not forgetting that they got Slay the Warlord in the Chaos turn for the end of turn number 2, so that actually puts the Orcs on 10, and the Chaos side currently, including Slay the Warlord for this turn, currently on 7. So because we achieved Slay the Warlord for the Orc turn, we need to draw 3 cards. So the Warp is your ally. Score 1 victory point if you manifested a psychic power during your turn, or if you summoned a unit of demons to the battlefield. Score D3 if you manifested a psychic power. Okay, demonic ritual. Okay, so probably 1 point there at least. Witch Hunter. There's possibility that we can get the weird boy in the centre, who's currently on 3 wounds, and then the Will of Chaos. Roll a d6. So we get a 2. So if we control that objective marker at the end of the turn, then we get an extra point for that as well. Now number 2 currently is just down here. So the closest unit I've got currently is the Raptors that are in combat over there. So that might be a bit of a challenge. We'll see where we end up. Right, movement is end of movement for Chaos for turn number 3. This Rhino has just standard moved across to here. Sorcerer's moved up. These Berserkers have advanced to try and get into the central area. Master of Possession up in the building. Hellbrute has just moved to engage these boys. The Helldrake that was here is now here. This unit has just standard moved up into the building to start thinking about challenging here, and similarly he should be just slightly further away. These 2 have just moved around the building also. Last bit of moving is the Forge Fiend. Considered leaving it where it was to target the truck, but then figured actually move it into the centre. Closest visible enemy unit is the weird boy. That kind of probably is the end of the line for both of those units. The final thing is just to move the sorcerer forwards just to get into unfailable charge range on his 1 wound, and that's the end of movement. So it's Psychic next. So a successful smite went off in the centre here, wasn't denied. The weird boy's now down to 1 wound. Attempted to cast Prescience on the Forge Fiend, but that failed to go off. And then over here we've got a couple of smites that have gone into this unit, plus a Infernal Gaze, which has got rid of all but 1 wound from that boy squad. So I'm sure there'll be quick work made of him in the fight phase. That's the end of Psychic. It's shooting next. End of the shooting phase of Chaos. Forge Fiend did damage, or well, did hits, caused wounds, but they were saved by Gurgal, the warlord. So took out one of the Gretchen with the ectoplasm gun, whatever it's called. The Hellbrute just here managed to take 5 wounds off of the burner bomber at -4 AP, couldn't save. Shot from the Master of Possession across to here, took a wound off the Weird Boy. And then the truck just over here is down to 9 wounds, and that's pretty much it for shooting. So just want to go back to the Rites of Battle mission rule. Had a little bit of a play around with that, and basically I think what we're going to do is say these guys were going to shoot at that Pain Boy. The Orc player spends 1 command point to use Rites of Battle, so the Chaos side get 1. Well, actually, let's say they rolled a 4 because he's in cover. So say they got 1 hit. The Orc side would roll a d6, and on a 4+, they would get to use the Rites of Battle mission rule, which basically means that instead of hitting him, that shot hits the closest enemy unit. So he's basically hit. So strength 4, toughness 4. So it does wound. And then he gets a 3-up save, which he does not save. Rolled a 1. So that would mean that that shot kills that guy instead of hitting him up there. So I'm going to do that a couple more times just to make sure that it works. So we've got 3 shots hitting on 4s. So there's 2 hits. So going to spend a command point, Rites of Battle. Rolls a d4. Gets a 6, so one of those shots is going to hit one of these guys. First to resolve against the Pain Boy, so that's not a wound, and then to resolve against the Chaos side, that is a wound. He gets his save as normal, and he saves it. So he managed to deflect that random shot this time round. Let's do it one more time. 3 shots, hitting on 3s. Rites of Battle, and he fails it, but let's just say he did succeed and got a 5, so we take one of those shots away. Shot onto the Pain Boy, 4 to wound, that wounds. He gets a normal save, which he fails, so he takes a wound. And then the Chaos shot does not wound. Okay, that seems to make sense. That's the end of shooting. Charges are next. Into the charge phase, and the Hellbrute and the Sorcerer have charged into support here. Not that that guy needed it, but just want to make short work of him. In the centre, the Weird Boy has no ranged weapons, so the Sorcerer and the Forge Fiend have charged into him. And then over here, the Chaos Lord and the chain axe wielding Berserker have charged into the flanker of this combat, actually into the mech just there. That's the end of the charge phase. It's fights next. So into the fight phase for the Chaos side for turn 3. The mech has been killed. The Chaos Lord consolidated into here. He shouldn't have done that because he didn't actually fight. This guy did, consolidated in. Rhino's got 4 wounds left on it, no damage here. The biker took out a burner boy, no damage in return. Just over here we've got 2 raptors gone and a couple of the orcs gone. And over the far side, 5 Gretchen left against 4 raptors there, so Gretchen need to do a morale test. And finally, just in the centre, the Sorcerer took out the Weird Boy, who had 1 wound left. He then consolidated into the Gretchen, stupidly, with 1 wound left, and the Gretchen took him out, basically. So the Gretchen are still sitting on that central objective. That's the end of the fight phase in terms of those Gretchen that need to do a morale test. They have 4 fled the field, so that gives a total of 9. So total of 9 with a leadership of 4. That basically means those last 5 Gretchen have fled. So let's have a look at the Chaos objectives. Need to get rid of that guy. So the Will of Chaos, objective number 2, we haven't got that one. Witch Hunter, score 1 victory point. We destroyed a Psyker, which we have done. And then the Warp is your ally, score 1 victory point if you manifested a psychic power during your turn. So we get a point for that one as well. So that plus Assassinate, plus Slay the Warlord, that gives the Chaos side 1, 2, 3, 4 points. So that puts them up to a total of 10. So it's actually 10 points all at the end of turn battle round number 3. So the Orcs turn number 4 scored Witch Hunter in the end of the Chaos turn number 3. So that puts them up to 10 points. And I need to draw 2 cards. More speed, go faster. 3 units need to advance. Grab the loot, roll a d6, and we're looking for that objective marker. Oh, excuse me a moment. What do we get? Oh, we get number 6, which isn't actually on the board. So what we'll do is we'll turn that one in and we'll draw another one. Give them some Daka. Score 1 victory point if an enemy unit was destroyed during the shooting phase. Okay, movement is coming up. So movement for the Orcs. Truck has just moved up to the centre. If we head back down this way, nothing going on here. The mech has just moved across. In terms of the 3 advances to get that additional victory point, we've advanced here. We've advanced here, he was up here. And we've also advanced the Pain Boy, who was just tucked up on top of the building here. Burner Bomber's moved across to here. And pretty much that is it. I just need to mention that there will be a recalculation of the Chaos side's victory points in the Chaos turn, because I think I may be 1 point shy. I've got them as 10 at the moment. I think they should be on 11, but there will be a recalculation of that coming up shortly. So that's it for movement. Psychic is next. So the only weird boy left on the field is this one. Attempted to cast a smite onto the Forge Fiend. He only gets 1 power. It failed to go off, so it's now the shooting phase. End of the shooting phase for the Orcs. These knobs managed to get a wound off of the Rhino with their pistols. The truck shot into the Forge Fiend, failed to do any damage. Same with the Gretchen, unsurprisingly. Over here, no damage on this squad with pistols. These guys advanced, so can't shoot. He shot at the Hellbrute and failed to hit. The shock attack gun shot at the Forge Fiend on strength 8 and managed to get 3 wounds. So the Forge Fiend is now down to 4 wounds remaining. And then the War Banner shot down at the Berserkers just down here and failed to score any hits. So, just got to shoot the Burner Bomber. So at the end of the shooting phase, as you'd expect, Burner Bomber missed. And then 36-inch range puts the Forge Fiend in range of the other 2 weapons. And basically hit a couple of times, but caused no wounds. So that's the end of shooting. In terms of charges, I think all we're going to do is I think all we're going to do is charge the Pain Boy. He's going to charge into these 3 guys here. So 3 bolt pistol shots. Less than half range, so hitting on 6s, get 2 hits, 4s to wound, no wounds. Charge is successful, so he is in, and we'll just do the old consolidation. Like and then in the centre, we're going to charge the Gretchen into the Forge Fiend. crazy Gretchen. So we've got 2 ectoplasma cannons, which are heavy D3. That gives us 5 shots. So 6s to hit. We get 2 hits. Strength is 7, so 2s to wound, both wound. Can't save, so 2 of the Gretchen are killed. And then the heavy 4 for the Hades autocannon, 6s, and we get nothing. So Gretchen charge, they get a 3. That'll give them enough to get in, so I'll move those in and then I'll be right back. So from a slightly better angle, the Gretchen made it in, lost a couple on the way in, and then the weird boy who was just back here rolled a 10 for his advance and made it in as well, just to get some extra hitting power into that combat. So that's the end of charges. It is the fight phase next. So end of end of fight phase, I should say, for turn 4 for the Orks. Some attacks with a power stabber into the Rhino, plus 1 of the boys took off another wound, nothing dealt in return, and then these 2 knobs took out the other final Berserker champion from here. The last of the burner boys has gone from here, so there's just the spanner left. Down here, the Orks managed to take out the last 2 raptors from this squad at the back. And then if we go all the way around here, the pain boy who charged in took out 1 of the berserkers, but because they get to fight twice, they basically dealt too many wounds for him to deal with. And then in the center, the forge fiend is down to 3 wounds. The weird boy managed to get another wound off him, and then 3 out of the 5 remaining Gretchen have fled through a failed morale test. So that basically means that although there is only 2 Gretchen and the weird boy left in the center there, they do still hold the central objective for 1 point. So if we look at their objectives for the rest of the game, so they score the victory point for 3 units advancing, destroying an enemy unit in the shooting phase. Don't think we did that. No, we didn't do that one. And then score 1 victory point for that unit of 10 wounds or more. So again, we're whittling down a Rhino, and we've got a Forge Fiend down to 4 wounds, but 3 wounds I should say, but they will get a wound back each turn. So central objective, 1 point for more speed, go faster. That's 2 points for the Orks. That puts them on 12 at the end of their turn 4. Chaos turn 4 is next. So it's Chaos turn number 4. Now I did mention earlier I was going to do a recalculation of points, which I have done, and it turns out that I was right. The Chaos side at the end of their turn 3 should have been on 11 points, not 10. So it's now 12 to Orks and 11 to Chaos. So first things we need to do is re-roll for this objective, and we get number 1. Number 1 is the central objective, so have a look at that in a minute. Kingslayer, score D3 victory points if your opponent's warlord has been destroyed during this turn or any previous turn. So that one we have done. Let me just grab a dice. D3, so we get 1. That's not great. And then Master the Warp, manifest or deny a psychic power this turn. So I guess yeah, I guess we're just playing for that one. So although that has been achieved, so I guess really what we should do is draw a new card. Score 1 victory point if your opponent failed a morale test. Okay. All right then, so let's get stuck into movement and see where we end up. So into the movement phase, standard moves here, here, here and here. This unit has just moved 6 inches. The Master of Possession advanced, rolled a 6, so 3 inches down, 3 inches out, and then an extra 6 inches for the advance, got him across to there. The Helldrakes moved back over to here. The Raptors have just moved, standard move, up to here to start challenging the Tank Busters. And then over here we've got a standard move for the Berserkers, who have just moved up to start challenging into the back of the Knobs. Chaos Lord moved slightly across to get out of the way, and then the bike has fallen back, so shooting phase, because these guys can't shoot into here, they will shoot over there. So psychic phase is next. End of the psychic phase, and the Master of Possession cast a smite onto the Knob with Warbanner and caused 2 mortal wounds, but perils himself on a double 5 and took 3 wounds off himself. The Sorcerer over here then cast a smite and onto the same unit, funnily enough, failed to go off, but then cast Infernal Gaze and managed to get another mortal wound off of that Knob. The Weird Boy over there failed to deny that initial smite, and he's only got 1 deny anyway. So that's the end of psychic. Shooting is next. So end of shooting. The Knob with Warbanner has been killed. Shots in from the 2 Berserkers just here, took that last wound off. 2 of the Tank Busters gone after shots from the Raptors. However, the plasma gun overcharged because he was shooting up towards the burner bomber and managed to roll 2 1s, so blew himself up. Helldrake with a Bale Flamer has taken 4 wounds off, 2 hits for 2 damage each off the burner bomber. And then up here, the Spanner, who was here, has been destroyed, taken out by these Berserkers. So that's the end of shooting. Charges are next. End of the charge phase for Chaos for turn 4. So the Berserkers and the Chaos Lord have made it into the back of the Knobs unopposed. And then just over here, the Tank Busters, one of them threw a Tank Buster bomb, but scored no hits, and then the other 2, one rocket launcher scored a hit but no wounds, and then the Raptors completed their charge with no issues. That's the end of charges. Fight phase is next. So at the end of the Chaos fight phase for turn 4, the Tank Busters have been taken off the board, and then the Raptors have consolidated and tagged the shock attack gun to prevent it firing in the next turn. Over on the Orcs' right flank, the Rhino has taken no more damage. However, 2 of the Knobs have been taken out. They took out 2 of the Berserkers in return. The Chaos Lord was actually left high and dry because of the casualties being taken off, so he's just consolidated in for the next turn. And then over in the centre, believe it or not, that lone Gretchen passed its morale test by rolling a 1. No damage anywhere else, so that's the end of the Chaos turn 4. Let's just have a look at objectives. So Will of Chaos, control objective number 1, that is a no. Psychological warfare, failing a morale test. Well, the only one that the Orcs had to take was the Gretchen, and they passed. And then Master the Warp, score 1 victory point if you manifested or denied a psychic power. If you denied 3 or manifested 3, score D3. Well, we only manifested 2 because we got a smite and a infernal gaze off, so we get 1 victory point for that one, plus the 1 victory point for Kingslayer. That gives the Chaos side 2, so that puts them up to 13. So at the end of battle round 4, it's 13 Chaos, 12 Orcs. Battle round 5 is just coming. So let's just draw objectives for turn 5 for the Orks. So they've still got score 1 victory point for taking out a model with 10 wounds or more, and still got 1 for shooting phase. And then the third one, D3 victory points if your opponent's warlord has been destroyed, which we've already done. So for that one, we're going to score 2. Okay, I'll do the same as I did in the chaos phase and draw another card because that one's already been achieved. And we've got hold the line, at least 3 units completely within your deployment zone. Okay, that won't happen this turn. The burner bomber has got to move from there, so the only units that I can possibly get in are the mech and these boys, because the shock attack gun is tagged in combat unless he falls back. That is an option, but if he falls back he can't shoot anyway, although it will save him if we go into turn 6. So we'll have a look. Movement phase is coming up next. So end of Orcs movement for turn number 5. Burner bomber has just turned and just moved across to here. The only other units that could have potentially moved were these boys and these 2 units here. Now, one of the objectives is hold the line, which is keeping 3 units within the deployment zone. Now, I thought that one of these, the shock attack gun, was actually outside, but he's not. So 12 inches from here up to a point 9 inches away from the central objective is around there. So we've actually got that 1, 2 and 3, provided they're not destroyed this turn. So may get that one, may not. The only other units that haven't moved are the Gretchen and the weird boy in the middle there. The truck has just moved into the middle from over here. That's the end of movement. Psychic phase is next. The weird boy gets 1 power, so he's going to cast a smite onto the Forge Fiend, which he gets. Can it be denied? No, it cannot. So D3 for 3 mortal wounds. That drops the Forge Fiend down to 1, which is interesting. That might be off the table this turn if we're lucky. So shooting for the Orcs is next. So in terms of shooting for the Orcs, the mech in Mega Armor shot his blaster at the Hellbrute and managed to get 1 wound. It's D6 damage. Rolled a 1, command point re-rolled it, rolled a 1. So Helldrake's down to 8 wounds from 9. The truck, who can just about see these 2 berserkers, failed to do any damage. And then finally the burner bomber shot everything at the biker and only managed to get him down to 1 wound. So pretty abysmal shooting from the Orcs as per usual. It's the charge phase next. So the only charge was this one, the big mech who's charged into this combat. Obviously these were already tagged because they consolidated into the big the shock attack gun in their turns, so no Overwatch. So it's fight phase next. So it's the end of the Orcs fight phase, and they've lost another one here, did no damage in return. So this boss is all on his own. The Forge Fiend, which was on 1 wound, was taken out by the Weird Boy staff, didn't explode. And then just here, 2 of the Raptors have been taken out, no damage dealt in return. So that is the end of Orcs turn 5 in terms of objectives. Big Game Hunter scored 1 point for that, as we've taken out the Forge Fiend on 12 wounds. Hold the line, 3 units within the deployment zone. So we've got 1, 2, 3 as already discussed. Victory point if an enemy unit was destroyed during the shooting phase. We haven't achieved that one. However, we did achieve Kingslayer, and we got 2 points for Kingslayer at the end of Chaos turn 4. So 2, 3, 4 points. That puts the Orks up to 16 at the end of their turn 5. So Chaos objectives for turn number 5, just re-roll the Wheel of Chaos and we get a 1 again. Still got Psychological Warfare, so we need a failed morale test from the Orks. And Area Denial, score 1 victory point if there are no enemy units within 6 inches of the centre of the battlefield at the end of your turn. Well, you get D3 if it's 12 inches. So that's, again, possibly a bit of a challenge. We have got some units that are approaching the centre, but there's 7 wounds on that truck. And then I think 4 wounds on the Weird Boy and a wound on the Gretchen. So there's 12 wounds in that centre section. Sorry, 13 wounds. 12, 13? There or thereabouts anyway. So that might be a bit of a challenge. Let's see what happens. Movement is coming up next. So movement phase complete for the Chaos side. We've got standard move on the home-brewed to get line of sight on the truck. Advanced, 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 just to try and get to within charge range. The Sorcerer has also advanced up onto this building. We've got a 3-inch advance on the Rhino just to get around this corner. No real advantage to doing that, just wanted to get to a point where if we go into turn 6 we can actually get into the middle. And then the Biker has advanced around from this side of the building again to get within charge range. He's only got 1 wound left, but he might be able to do some damage, you never know. No other movement apart from the Helldrake, who has popped over to this side just to target the boys down in this corner. And then this, obviously this combat here, there'll be some piling in going on when we get to that stage. So that's the end of movement. Psychic is next, and what we're going to do is we're going to do a smite from the Master of Possession onto the truck, and he perils. Command point re-roll it just to see if he doesn't peril, and he still perils. Excellent. So he's dead basically. 1 mortal wound, so he is gone. Silly boy. And then we've got the other Psyker who's just there. He's going to cast his smite onto the Weird Boy, which he gets on a 9. Isn't denied for 2 mortal wounds. So that drops the Weird Boy down to 2. He's then going to cast a Infernal Gaze, and this is going to go on to the, I think it's going to go on to the Weird Boy again. So that fails to go off. Okay, end of Psychic. Shooting is next. So at the end of the shooting phase, the Hellbrute fired and missed the truck. Command point reroll, fired and missed again. These guys have all advanced, so can't shoot. He's advanced, can't shoot. Plasma pistol fired but missed. Helldrake took out 5 of the boys, so melee, sorry, a morale test coming for them later in the turn, and no other shooting up here. So that's the end of the shooting phase. It's charges next. End of charges for the Chaos side for turn number 5. So we've got the 2 Berserkers who made it around the pipe stack into the truck, lost nothing on Overwatch, and then the remaining champion of the other 5-man squad, or 10-man squad as it was, has made it into the Gretchen and the Weird Boy. No losses on Overwatch there, and then the bike charged in from the rear. And then over here, the Helldrake has charged into the 2 remaining boys. Nothing lost on Overwatch. And then just here, we've done a bit of piling in just to get more into combat with the Knob. So that's the end of the charge phase. Fight phase is coming. So it's the end of Chaos turn 5. So in terms of what's happened, that last Knob has been destroyed. These guys have then consolidated towards the burner bomber in the center. The Gretchen is gone, but the two attacks, one went into the Gretchen and killed it, the other one went into the Weird Boy and did not wound, and then the bike didn't manage to wound either. These two berserkers have been killed by the truck and its wrecking ball, and then the last remaining raptor, the raptor champion, was taken out by the power claw on the big mech. So I just need to do a morale test for this squad. So they've lost 5, leadership is 7, and they roll a 7, so yeah, they're good. That's it. That's the end of the chaos turn. So let's have a look at objectives, and we have not got superiority on number 1. They haven't failed a morale test, and we haven't scored that point for area denial. So at the end of turn 5, it's 16 to chaos and 16 to orcs and 13 to chaos. So do we go into turn number 6? Yes, we do. Turn 6 is... So I just want to revert back to that morale test for the orcs. They actually lost 6. So 6 plus 2, which they rolled, is 8 with a leadership of 7. That actually means that that guy has abandoned his fight and fled the battlefield. So that squad is now destroyed. So let's move into battle round number 6. So battle round number 6, orcs turn 6. In terms of objectives, we've got to give them some DACA, so 1 victory point if an enemy was destroyed during the shooting turn this phase. Shooting phase this turn, I should say. So supremacy, control any 3 objective markers for D3 victory points, and defend objective number 3, which is... Where is number 3? 4's up that end. 3 must be over here somewhere. 3, yeah, so 3 is here. Okay, movement for the orcs is after much consideration, we are not moving much in the orc army because there's not much left for a start. If I move any of these, I'll lose the central objective. If I move any of these, I can't get far enough to get onto an objective, and also that's a heavy weapon, so if I move it, it's going to have -1 to hit. So really we're just relying on shooting. Now I've moved the burner bomber, which was here, and it's moved up to here, and he's going to do a burner bomb. He's got 1 left, and that is going to go on to this unit of berserkers. So there are 2, 4, 6, 8 models in that unit, so it's 8d6, and these are going to be on a 4+. So on a 4+, it's a mortal wound. So we get 4 mortal wounds. That is half of that unit, so it's not too bad. I'll just take those to one side for a minute. Okay, so that's the end of the movement phase. It's psychic next. The Weird Boy is the only psyker left on the board. He is going to cast a smite, and that's going to go on to the war bike. And it fails. We're going to command point it because it's a risk, but we're going to command point it anyway. Okay, so we get it on a 9. We've got 2 possibilities to deny this. That's a fail. No, we haven't. We've only got 1 because there's only 1 cycle left on the board for the chaos side. So they failed to deny it. So that means, even with D3, that that bike is destroyed, which does give us superiority back on that objective. That's the end of psychic. Shooting. So at the end of the shooting phase for the orcs, burner bomber has managed to take out another couple of the berserkers from this unit. The shock attack gun, because he's infantry, basically shot through this building and hit the target but didn't cause any damage. It was at 5 strength versus 7. And then the big mech shot his Mega Blaster up here and needed a 6 and rolled a 3, so missed completely. The only other bit of shooting I think was from the truck, which went towards the Hellbrute and did no damage. So that's the end of shooting. Charges are next. And you know what? There aren't any. This guy is already in combat. These guys are too far away. Burner Bomber's obviously stuck right out here, and these guys are too far away as well. So there's no charges. So we're going to go straight into the fight phase, which is this combat. So probably the quickest fight phase in the history of 40k. Weird Boy Staff took him out, basically scored 3 hits, 2 wounds, and only one of them was saved, so that Berserker has gone. That's the end of the Orc turn. Need to do a morale test just down here. So 4 plus 6 is 10. So they've lost 6, plus 4 is 10. They've got a leadership of 8, so the difference being 2. That means those 2 guys have gone. Let's have a look at the objectives for the Orcs. So, give them some DACA. Enemy unit destroyed during the shooting phase. That's a bit of a quandary, isn't it? Because the Burner Bomber took out quite a few, but the last 2 went in the morale phase, so I don't really think we scored that one. Supremacy, D3 victory points if you control any 3 objective markers. Well, we only controlled the central one, and scored 2 victory points if you control objective marker 3. No, we don't. So we only get 1 point for the central objective. That puts the Orcs up to 17, and it is Chaos turn 6 coming up next. So Chaos turn number 6, 4 points behind, so need to get at least 4 points this turn. Let's just re-roll for Will of Chaos, and we get number 3. So number 3 is right there, which is a real bummer, because I was aiming to move the Rhino into the centre. So never mind. So that's 1 point potentially. Failed morale test during this turn, so there's not really much in the way of infantry left on the table now, so that might be a bit of a struggle. Area denial, and need to clear the centre of the board. So let's get stuck into movement and see what we can do. So movement is complete for Chaos. This Hellbrute, I just need to move up to there, not that it makes much difference, but he can't get through that gap, so he's going to have to stay put. Helldrake's just moved into the back of these 2 units. Rhino has stayed put on objective number 3, advanced down from the top of the building, and then the Rhino advanced across to get to here, and then the Chaos Lord advanced in behind. So can't shoot, can't shoot, can't shoot. So that's it for movement. Psychic phase, we've got a smite going into the Weird Boy, which goes off on a 9. Can the Weird Boy deny it? No, he can't. D3. Okay, so that's the Weird Boy killed. And then the Chaos Sorcerer can also cast Diabolic Strength. So he's going to cast Diabolic Strength on himself. Goes off on a 6, which is a fail. Going to command point that one. It's going well. Okay, so that's it for Psychic. Shooting is end of the shooting phase. The Rhino shot at the truck, failed to do any damage. Hellbrute shot and missed. Command point reroll to get the hit, and then failed to wound. And then the Helldrake has shot its Bell Flamer into the mech and taken it down to 3 wounds from 5. That's the end of shooting. Charges are next. So charge phase, Rhino charged in, lost a wound to Overwatch, then the Chaos Lord and the Psyker both charged into the truck. Need to try and take that off that objective this turn. The Helldrake multi-charged into these two units. The big mech missed, however the shock attack gun scored 1 hit at d6 wounds, -5 AP, has taken the Helldrake from 10 to 5 wounds. So that's the end of the charge phase. It's the fight phase next. The end of the fight phase for Chaos for turn number 6. Managed to get the truck down to 5 wounds. No more damage done there. The truck hit the Psyker, but did no damage. He managed to save that. The Helldrake has been knocked down to 2 wounds after being hit by the Power Claw on the big mech. That is it. That is the end of the fight phase and the end of turn 6 for Chaos. So, in terms of objectives, objective number 1 in the centre is currently being contested. So we get, what do we get for that? For number 3, we get 1 victory point for number 3. Didn't fail a morale test. And there are still enemies within 6 inches of the centre. So that puts the Chaos side up to 14. So it's 14 versus 16. Sorry, 17 at the end of battle round number 6. So let's see if we go into battle round number 7. And we do. So battle round number 7 coming right up. So turn 7 for the Orks. We've got to give them some DACA. Score 1 victory point if we do destroy something during the shooting phase. Supremacy, control 3 objective markers and defend objective 3, which is currently in the Chaos hands. So straight into movement. Let's get cracking. End of the movement phase, and the only movement that we've done is the burner bomber has turned and shot across to here. Could potentially target the Hellbrute or this Rhino, depending on what we fancy doing. The Rhino's obviously on 10 wounds, whereas the Hellbrute is down to 7 at the moment, so that might be a better choice. That's the end of movement. There is no psychic, so we're straight into shooting. So the burner bomber has failed to hit anything, so that's the end of the shooting phase. There is no charge phase, so we're going to go straight into the fight phase. So at the end of the fight phase, another wound off the truck, but no damage done in return, or no other damage done by any of these other units. The Helldrake, which was on 2 wounds, was hit by the big mech, and he scored a wound, and the save was failed. And D3 wounds, he rolled a 6, so got 3 wounds. The Helldrake didn't explode, but is now off the table. So at the end of the Orc turn, they haven't actually scored any points because the central objective is still contested. Didn't get anything in the shooting phase, don't control 3 objectives, and are nowhere near defend objective number 3. So it stands at the moment that the Orcs are on 17 points as the Chaos side go into their last turn. So Chaos objectives, area denial, clear out 6 inches of the centre of the battlefield or 12 inches for D3 points. Get the Orc side to fail a morale test. There's no real infantry issues left on the board for that one to be achieved. And then we've got no prisoners. Between 3 and 5 units are destroyed, score D3 victory points. So there are currently only 4 Orc units left on the board. So we can only at a maximum score D3. If we scored 3, that will put us on 17, which would make it a draw. Unless I can clear out the truck from the centre, in which case we'll get that additional point, so we'll win by 1 point. So let's get stuck into movement and see where we are. So the end of the movement phase, the Rhino regains a wound, the Hellbrute is back up to full wounds, The only move was this Rhino, which has just moved standard up to here just to get into charge range. So that's the end of movement. In terms of psychic, we're going to do a smite onto the truck, which goes off for D3 wounds for 3. That drops that truck down to 1 wound. Ooh. And then we're going to do a Infernal Gaze, which goes off on a 5, which we get. So we do 3d6, and on a 4+, it's a mortal wound. And again, this is all going onto the truck. Okay, so we get 2 mortal wounds on the truck. That takes it down to 0. Does it explode? No, it does not. So that truck is off the board, which gives the Chaos side that objective for this turn, which is a much needed boost. Shooting is coming. So it's the end of the Chaos shooting phase for turn number 7. The Rhino here could only shoot down here, took a wound off of the, took 2 wounds off of the big mech. The Hellbrute shot at the burner bomber, miraculously got a hit and did 3 points of damage, so that is now down to 5 from 8. That's it for shooting, and there's nothing in charge range, so there's also nothing in combat range. So that is the end of the battle. Now, the Chaos side get that central objective for 1 point. They don't get any other tactical objectives for this turn, so that puts them up to 15, which basically means it's 15 points to Chaos and 17 points to Orks at the end of the battle. So, reflections. I'm going to have a look at the Rites of Battle mission rule and adapt that on the PDF. There'll be a link to the PDF for Rites of Battle plus the other 5 missions in this mission pack. I may also adapt the range rules to reflect the fogginess of the battlefield, so it may restrict ranges a little bit, just to make it a little bit more, make it make sense a little bit more. But there you go. It's a Orc victory, 17 points to 15. Thanks for watching, and see you soon.